All thinking things manifesteth all power, when consciousness within them recognizes their omnipotence. Until then, things are naught but things, manifesting me not, being but blank slates upon which to write my mighty thoughts for blind eyes. For I am omnipotent. I give all power to him who asketh, but no one may ask of me who is not aware of me. See thou to it that man well knoweth that, and manifest thou thyself that principle of power in thine own works. For I say to all the imaged forms of my imagining, that power lieth in them, to manifest the balanced light which centereth them, by making the one light appear as two unbalanced lights, which interchange sequentially, but equally. And again I say that all things which man senseth are but waves of dual light, which record my electric thinking in the imaged forms of my imagining. And also I say that the imaged forms of my imagining have no being, for I alone have being. And that was from the Divine Iliad. I begin now on chapter 3, Sensation and Consciousness. God is consciousness. Consciousness is static. Consciousness is the knowing of mind. Knowing is static. Consciousness is the spiritual awareness of being, of all knowing, all power, and all presence. Man is the only unit in creation who has conscious awareness of the spirit within him, and electrical awareness of duly conditioned light acting upon his senses. All other units of creation have electrical awareness only. Man alone can be freed from body to think with God, to talk with God, and be inspired by his centering light. All other units of creation are limited in their action to automatic reflexes from sensed memories built up through ages of sensing and recording such senses as instinct. Likewise, the same confusion leads us to the adoption of such terms as subconscious mind and superconscious mind. There is but one mind functioning universally within all creating things, and that one mind is not stratified nor divided into the more or less. There are no differing conditions of the one mind, nor are there different kinds of minds. Imagination. God is the imager of his one ideal. All imaging is God's imaging. All creating forms in this thought universe of God's imagining are built in the image of his imagining, creating in his image. All forms in this creating universe of imagined forms are but electric recordings of God's imagining. They have no existence. Records of ideal are not the ideal they record. They have no substance. They are but black and white lights of sun-centered wave fields of space, assembled in vibrating systems to simulate substance in an objective universe which is not, but seems to be. God's imagining never began and will never end. It was not created at some remote past time by some vast cosmic event, as commonly believed, nor is it condemned to a heat death by expansion into nothingness. This is a creating universe, not a created one. God did not begin to imagine at some fixed time, for time does not exist. This light wave universe, which records God's knowing by his thinking and imagining, is as eternal as God's thinking is eternal. Inspiration. Inspiration is the language of light which man uses to talk with God. Inspiration is that deep awareness of the consciousness of being, which differentiates the genius or mystic from the being of average intelligence. Inspiration in man is accompanied by an intense mental ecstasy, which is characteristic of all who become intensely conscious of their closeness to God. Inspired geniuses forget their bodies while deeply conscious of their existence as holy mind. Their bodies, thus forgotten, act almost automatically in obedience to instinct and cell memory reflexes. Inspired geniuses translate God's knowing into words of man for the soul of man. They uplift all mankind by re-inspiring all who listen to their ecstatic words and rhythms. He who attunes his heart to the messages of genius purifies himself. No impurity can there be in his heart, for verily he then is in communion with the Holy One. And more of God speaking. Man alone of all my creating things hath begun to hear my whisperings. Since his beginning my still small voice hath whispered within him that I am he and he me. But even now barbaric man on thy small new world heareth dully, and maketh idols which he treasures before me. For he is still new, he is still but in the ferment of his early brewing. For I say that all things which floweth from life of me have life of me flowing through them, even to the least of these. But I say that even though my light of immortal life floweth through these mortal symbols of my thinking, it touches them not in its passing. When they shall know the light of me in them, then they shall be me, and I them. And that was from the Divine Iliad. The next chapter is called Cosmic Consciousness. Beyond the genius is the mystic. The mystic is one who has attained cosmic consciousness by a complete severance of the seats of consciousness and sensation. He is then almost totally unaware of his body and is totally aware of the light of God centering him. Omniscience comes to him in that timeless, blinding flash of light, which is characteristic of a complete severance. This experience was described in the Illumination of St. Paul. Every timeless flash of intense inspiration which comes to any man is a partial illumination, for inspiration is the manner in which new knowledge comes to man from the cosmos. Of all mystics, Jesus was the outstanding example of all time. He was the only one in all history to have known complete cosmic conscious unity with God. The Bible refers to cosmic conscious experience as the illumination, or being in the light, or in the spirit. In all history, less than 40 cases of partial cosmic consciousness are known, and probably not more than 3 of these anywhere nearly approach the complete state of illumination experienced by the Nazarene. Cosmic consciousness is the ultimate goal for all mankind. All will know it before the long journey of man is finished, but there are many in this new age just dawning who are ready for it in part, if not fully. Many desire it fully, but it is best that it come bit by bit, for the complete severance is very dangerous. The ecstasy of this supreme experience is so great that one does not wish to come back. The power of severance of soul from body is within easy accomplishment, but to step back into the body is very difficult. The way to gradually attain cosmic consciousness is to intensify one's conscious awareness by much aloneness and companionship with God, while manifesting Him in every moment and in every task of life. Moment by moment companionship with God brings with it so great a realization of oneness with Him that the transformation into that full realization of unity is apt to take place at any time.